Hey guys, Matt, Train 943. In today's video, I have delivery number 6 here on the KTMR Railroad. In today's video, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk a lot about layout work. We've been doing a lot of layout work recently over the past couple months, and that's basically the main reason why you guys haven't seen a blog video from me in a while, is because we've been really busy working on the layout. I really haven't had time to stop and film a video, but now I'm finally having a little bit of time, so we'll go ahead and talk about some layout work, and then we'll also talk about some new trains. We went to a train show recently, and we also got some items that we had on pre-order. We got those in, and we also got some repaired locomotives, so we'll take a look at all those in today's video, and we'll also run some trains. So we're going to start off by talking about some layout work. Now we're going to split this blog video up into sections, so just to give you guys a little bit of perspective, we're going to start in this section that you guys are looking at right now. We'll start off by taking a look at the layout work we've done here, and then we'll move on to other sections. So now we'll start taking a look at some layout work that we've done recently. And again, this is the reason why I haven't filmed a blog video in quite a while, is because we've been so busy working. What we'll first start off by taking a look at is we'll take a look at the newly added stone wall and tunnel portals, and then we'll take a look at some other stuff a little bit later after that. Okay, so here's a brief look at the newly added tunnel portals and the stone wall pieces. I'll get into more detail in these in just a minute, but what I first want to show you guys is I want to show you guys what we had before we did the stone wall or the tunnel portals, so you guys can get a rough idea of what we had before and what you guys have seen for quite a while. Some of these earlier photos that you guys are looking at right now can give you guys a rough idea of what we had before. What we had before was just a piece of wood that ran the entire length of this area here. But what we did was we got rid of that piece of wood, and then we started adding the stone wall that we have that you guys are looking at right now. Now these stone wall pieces and the seam sealer pieces, those are both made by Scenic Express, in addition to the tunnel portals that we'll take a look at in a couple of minutes. Those are also made by Scenic Express. Now one thing we did to these for our purposes was because of the height between the bottom level and the upper level, we had to raise the height of the stone wall. So what we did was we made this concrete footer, which is just two pieces of wood that we nailed together and put onto the table, and as you guys can see, the full effect looks great. So now I'll take a brief look at the tunnel portals that we have, and like the stone walls and the seam sealers, these are also made by Scenic Express, and this whole bit is called the Pensy stone system. The walls, the sealers, and the tunnel portals. And what we did to the tunnel portals to give them a little bit of variety is we set them off a little bit. We kind of did a little kind of cool thing. We have this one right here a little further up than the back one here, and we did that just for effect, a little something different, because before we had this. Now this is just a double portal. We had it something along the lines of this sitting on the track, and we didn't really care for that, so we got these Scenic Express portals, and we liked them much better, and we did the off-center thing just to give a little more variety. So that's that on the tunnel portals. There's not really much else I can say. They're very nice portals in my opinion. So now we'll move on to some other layout work we've done. This here is the big news for this blog video. If there's one thing we've done that is of very major work, it's this. Now, I first showed you guys this bridge in blog video number 5. This is the new trestle that we got from Bridge Boss. We got it about 2 months or so ago, and now it's finally in operation. We'll run some trains over it in just a couple of minutes, but I'm very happy that this is done. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me, when are we going to get this done? Well, now it's finally done. So what we'll do real quick before we move on to some other things is we'll run some trains over this real quick. So next we'll start talking about some trains that we got. Now we went to a train show recently, and that's the first thing we're going to talk about here. So we went to a train show and we picked up some really nice Lionel pieces of rolling stock. So let's take a look at what we have. So the first car we have here is a Lionel Texas Special tank car. Now you guys may know this car if you have the LCCA Texas Special set with the switcher locomotive and the cars. If you don't have it, then you're probably not sure what this is. But in any case, this is a commemorative car for the Texas Special train set that Lionel made a little while ago. It's a really nice car. Now a little story for this particular car is that this car, the guy who was selling it originally wanted $100 for it, but we ended up picking it up for $40 because the box was very badly damaged on the car. Although we took the car out to make sure it was okay, and it was, so we took it. It's a really nice car. I really like it. Finally, the last thing we have here is this 2-pack of New York Central Pacemaker PS4 flat cars with the trailers on them. These cars are exquisite. These are really nice cars. You know, I've heard great things about these particular cars, and how I can finally say that these things are fantastic. I want to pick them up for myself now. These cars are really cool. I may even do a full review on these. I'm not 100% sure, but in any case, these cars are really good. I'll run down some of the quick features. They've got real wood on the decks. The trailers are amazing. They were opening doors. They got the little drawbridges that come down. These cars are just really, really nice. Now, the 2-pack that we got this for around 120 bucks. So it was a really good deal. In addition to those cars that we picked up at the train show, we also picked up these signs. These are a couple signs. These are made by Perkin Valley Graphics. This one here is a Buffalo Flower Creek sign. And then we also got a South Buffalo Railway sign. And these are pretty cool. And I think they're really nice. The last thing we got is this Lionel floodlight tower. We're going to be using this in one of our yards. We're not sure which one yet, but we will be using this for some light in our yards. So that'll be pretty cool. Next, we'll start taking a look at some pre-order trains that came in recently. Here's one of them. This is a new freight set we got a while ago. This is the MTH Premier New York Central Niagara set with the steam engine, 5 reefer cars, and a bay window caboose. The engine is really nice. I did a quick little run of it a little while ago, and it's pretty nice. It's got a good sounding whistle and a good smoke unit on this engine, which is awesome. The freight cars are really nice as well, as is the caboose. Now, I will be doing a product review on this set, so keep an eye out for that in the coming weeks. Here's another awesome set. Now, it's not the E8s that you see behind the passenger cars. The E8s, we've had these for a while. They're the MTH Premier Pennsylvania ones. These are the Barrett-Levin E8s that MTH came out with. And we finally got the passenger cars for this train a little while ago, although we're probably not going to be keeping the set you see. The set we got was the 5-car set, the 2-car baggage and coach set, the Vistadome car, and the mail car. What we wanted was the 5-car set like always, the Vistadome car, the sleeper diner add-on, which we did not get, and we don't ever remember ordering the mail car, but we have it anyway, so we'll keep it. But the Vistadome car and the mail car need to get sent back because the Vistadome car shorts out and the RPO car does not light up. And the baggage and coach set, we're probably going to get rid of that and get the sleeper diner set that we really want. But other than that, the train is really nice. The colors on the cars are really nice. I really like it's got the silver, and it also has a little bit of brown up on top, so it looks really cool. A little something different than just a plain silver set. But issues aside, the set is really nice. So I'll probably get those cars switched out and get them fixed, and the set will be awesome. So that's really cool. Finally, we'll take a look at a repaired locomotive we got back. This is our Lionel Legacy Union Pacific 412-2. I know some of you guys have been asking me where this engine was, and it was in the repair shop for about 6 months or so. For the same reason, actually it's had the same problem twice. The problem was that it wasn't running really well, and we found out that it's a capacitor problem inside one of the boards. But we got that fixed, and now it's running pretty good, so we'll cross our fingers and hope that it doesn't have the same problem again. But so far it's running great. So now I'll start talking about my favorite trains. Now, I'm not doing this for my benefit. I'm doing this because this was a question that I got asked by actually two YouTubers. Their names are Dominic Mayo and Taylor Williams. They both asked me kind of the same question. Dominic asked what are my favorite trains, and then Taylor asked what are my favorite trains for passenger and for freight service. So I'm going to answer both of those questions in this little section. Now for me, this was a very hard question to answer, both from Taylor and from Dom. They both asked a really good question, and again, it's along the same lines. But in any case, this question was very hard for me to answer, just for the simple fact that we have so many awesome engines. And of course, with any layout that has a lot of trains, you of course basically run the same thing a lot, even though I do occasionally change things. But for the most part, I usually run the same stuff, and that is pretty evident in some of my videos. But in any case, they really wanted to see what my favorite trains were, so let's go ahead and take a look at what my favorite trains were. Now, this is a bias thing. I know some of you guys may agree with my choices, some of you guys may not. And also, if you know our collection enough, I would really like to see what your guys' picks are. But anyway, here's mine. Okay, so here's the first two models that I'm picking for my favorite locomotives. Now I'm showing you these two because these engines really go hand in hand with each other. All the other engines you're going to see, I'm just going to show one locomotive. But in any case, these are our two Union Pacific steam giants we have. The engine right here is a Lionel Vision Line Union Pacific Big Boy. This engine is really, really awesome. And also, I have done a review on every single model you'll be seeing. So if you want to check them out, all the reviews are on my YouTube channel. But this engine is simply amazing. You know, the Vision Line is really the cutting edge as far as these trains go. I mean, this engine has a lot of cool vision features. It has the smokestack feature, which the smokestacks go in and out of sync with each other. In addition to the sound effects, that's really cool. It's got the whistle steam, which most all Lionel steam engines have that these days. It's got the blowdown effect, which is pretty rare. It's been quite a while since we've seen that feature. And also back in the tender, we have a new feature, the depleting coal load feature, and that's really cool. So this engine is all in all awesome. And then the locomotive behind the big boy, the engine to the left right here, is a MTH Premier Line Union Pacific Challenger, which is the sister to the big boy. And this engine is really nice as well. It's equipped with Protosound 3. It's got the passenger station sounds for the Portland Rose. It's a really nice engine. It's got a great smoke unit and a great whistle, and overall it's very nice as well. Next up, we have a piece that is simply amazing. This engine needs absolutely no introduction. This is the awesome Lionel Legacy Nickel Plate Road 765. This piece is just probably the pride of our collection right here, and it is definitely by far the #1 piece in the top 5 of these engines that you guys are going to be seeing. Now I know I'll probably get a little bit of heat from saying that, but this engine is just phenomenal. A little bit of a story on this particular engine is that we never actually pre-ordered it when the catalog came out. That being the 2014 catalog that the Vision Line Big Boy that you guys just saw was also in addition to a locomotive you'll be seeing right after this one. And we did not pre-order this again, as I said, but we ordered it after the fact because my uncle really liked the fact that this engine had a smoking whistle, and at the time we only had 3 other engines with the smoking whistle, and we kind of really wanted another one. So that was the distinguishing feature of this engine that made my uncle buy it, and really I have to say I am super glad he did, because this model again has become probably the pride of our collection. I always run this engine. It's always either on the shelf within reach or always on the track. This engine is just phenomenal. I can't say really anything more about it. Like I said, I have done a review on every single product, and this is no exception, so you guys can check it out if you guys want to. Another interesting fact is that this engine, we just got it about a year ago actually. So this engine's about a year old, which it's held up fine. We've had no problems with it whatsoever, which is great. Now a little bit about this engine. This engine obviously still runs, and it's awesome. The model itself has some really good features. It's got the smoking whistle feature, which is again why we bought the engine. It's got Rich Melvin, which is the real engineer of this engine. He read the crew talk sequences, which is really cool, and it just got an amazing sound set, which is awesome. And this engine again is just phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. It's great. Next up, we have a very solid piece from Lionel, this being the Missouri, Kansas, Texas E8AA set. And as I said, this is the third engine that we got from the 2014 catalog. And just like the 765, this engine we also did not pre-order when it first came out, when the catalog first came out, that is. And the reason being was because we really weren't attracted to it. We saw the engine and we were like, okay, it's an E8. We got 2 models from MTH at the time, so let's figure, why do we need another one? Well, the reason why we have this engine is because my uncle really wanted a set of Lionel passenger cars. Because one time I brought over my Burlington F3s and the 4 aluminum cars I had from that set, and my uncle was absolutely blown away. So he said, I really want to get a set of Lionel cars and a locomotive to go with them. So we ended up picking up this because my uncle really liked the paint scheme on it. And the passenger cars sadly have not came for this engine, those being the Texas Special passenger cars. Those are slated for delivery in February. They got pushed back. Originally they were supposed to come in December, but they got pushed back to February, which that's okay. But eventually we'll get them. So that'll be a great set once this train is all here. But in any case, the engines are really good. They got an awesome horn, a really awesome paint job, some really good crew talk sounds, and an amazing smoke unit. Now both engines do smoke, which is great. And in a few minutes we'll run some trains and I will run this engine, and you guys can see that these engines put out some great smoke, which is awesome. Here's the last model in my top 5. This is an awesome piece. This is the MTH Premier Southern Pacific Daylight. Now you guys could probably guess why I like this engine, that being the paint job. And it is flawless. It's really cool looking. We also recently got the passenger cars to go with it. So now we have the engine and the passenger cars. And this engine is really awesome. It's got a great sounding whistle and a great smoke unit as well. This piece is just phenomenal. Now this takes care of Dom's question. But again, as I said, Taylor had a different question, which we'll answer right now. Now, as I said, Taylor also had a question. The question was, what's your favorite locomotive for freight and for passenger service? As far as passenger goes, you're looking at it, that being the MTH Premier SP Daylight. Reason being, I love the colors. This train always gets a lot of attention when I run it, and whenever the other guys from the KTMR come down, they always really like it. And as far as freight service goes, that being the Union Pacific Big Boy from Lionel, this engine's really cool. Now, one of the reasons why I picked it for freight service is because I love articulated steamers. They just look really cool when they run, and that being the main reason. But another reason is just because this engine is just phenomenal. As I said when we talked about it a couple minutes ago, this engine is just great, and that's basically the reason why I picked it, is because it's just a really awesome piece. And plus, the benefit with the Big Boy, and really any steam engine, is that you can run whatever you want. I mean, you can run box cars, hopper cars, passenger cars, you know, really anything you want, which is really good because certain engines you can only run certain things, you know. Like with steam engines, running tank cars looks kind of weird, but then again, you know, running, let's say, box cars with SD70s and such, while they do it, it kind of looks a little out of place, especially if you have a lot of steam era cars. Now, as for us, we have mostly modern era, like diesel style cars. But, you know, every now and again, I do like to run my steamers with some cars that they would have pulled, which obviously we have a good number of them. But in any case, that's the reason why I picked these two engines. So both Taylor and Dom, thanks guys for your questions. So that takes care of the questions that we had for this blog video. Now again, you guys can ask me questions, you guys can leave them in the comments, you guys can ask them on my Facebook page, and you guys also can email me any questions you guys have. Please feel free to ask them, and I will be very glad to get back to you guys, either in a blog video like this, or I will answer the question via email or whatever it is. And usually I will also answer the question in a blog, so I usually do both. Just because, you know, other viewers I'm sure probably want to know, like for example in this particular case, what my favorite engines are. Now, back to favorite engines for just a minute. Now, I know that some of you guys, again, will probably think that these picks were you know, kind of different and out there, and they were, you know. I really took a long time in figuring out what was my favorite engines, and I think I picked really my true favorites. Now, I know another question that's probably going to pop up is, can we see all the locomotives you guys have? Now, that I will only do by request because we have a ton of engines. Last count, I think, was like 90 something. So that would be something that you guys would have to request, but I will gladly do it if someone requests it. So that's going to about do it for this blog video. Now, stay tuned to the end because we'll run some trains for a while. We'll run the new trains, and we'll also run some of my favorite trains that I showed you guys. Now, in blog video number 7, which will come out soon, one of the things you guys will see will be what you're looking at now. This is our transfer table from Ross. Now, we decided not to move it. We decided to keep it where it was, and we started some work on it. So I'll leave you guys with this so you guys can kind of see what we've been doing on it. And I'll talk more about this in blog 7, so don't ask questions about it now. But I figured I would show it to you guys since we are kind of in the planning stages. But it's coming along nice, which is great to see. In any case, I'm going to run some trains for you guys. I'm Matt, train 943. You guys have a great one.